Hey, this module I'm going to talk to you about an NUA strategy called Possible Sentences that many of you might be using already. It's great for building vocabulary, also for priming for some reading that the kids are going to do, or even to a good activity to do before they'd watch a movie. So this first part I'm just going to kind of walk through how Possible Sentences works and give you a few ideas how you can pair that up with active votes or active expressions as well. What's great about Possible Sentences is that it doesn't require a whole lot of prep. You'll need an article that the kids are going to read or a piece of text, even a movie that they're going to watch. And then you're going to pull out 10 to 12 key words, vocabulary that's going to appear in the article or movie. Try to get a good mix of words you think they definitely know, some they might know, and also a few that they don't know at all. So I just have some directions here on this page. Today we're going to read an article. You can see the title above. It's called Play Pumps, Turning Work into Play. And under these directions, there are 12 words that I took from the article. I'll show you them in a minute. But your task is going to be to analyze those words, determine how they might fit together, and then come up with 5 possible sentences that might appear in the article. Now, you're required to use at least two words in each of your sentences, 2 of the words, which you'll underline. And then what I like to do is just set a timer and say by the time this goes off, be ready to share what you think the best sentence that you or your group came up with. So then at that point you'd reveal the words, and then the kids have work time to analyze, discuss with a partner maybe they're even working in small groups, and they're trying to think, how do these words fit together? Also, when you first reveal the words, if there's any that you think they don't know the definition to, you can as a group define those so they can use them correctly in their sentences. So kids are then going to be talking and working, coming up with their sentences, and once the timer goes off, it's time to share. So the next slide is where you're going to record 5 or however many examples you want from the kids, and you just write them down using your pen. In this case, I am not at the board, so I'm going to type out the sentences, or I actually have them typed out already. Let's go back to the words for just a second. You might have some kids that thought that they could connect water, Africa, and perhaps luxury, and come up with a sentence that would be, for many people in Africa, water is a luxury. So you'd record their sentence and then go back for another group. Maybe there was someone that thought they could connect 14,000 underground and tank, and the sentence that they came up with was $14,000 was found in an underground tank. After you've done all 5, or however many you choose to do, examples, then here's where the active expressions come into play. A nice way to move this discussion, or the next part of possible sentences, is talking about how plausible each of those are. So this is where you could bring in voting. You could just say, all right, I want you to look at all 5 of those sentences, and which in your opinion is the most believable, or do you think is the most plausible? Which will probably be most likely to appear in the article? Leads to a good discussion. Another possibility would be to, if you have expressions, have them order them from most believable to least believable. And another thing you could do is do a Likert scale. So for this one, you could take each individual sentence and say, all right, let's look at this first sentence. For many people in Africa, water is a luxury. Vote right now how believable you think that is. You think that's going to appear in what we read today? And have some discussion that way. Just a nice way to bring it to a higher level and get kids thinking about what they're going to read. So after you talk about the plausibility of all the sentences, it's actually time to read the article or watch the movie. In this case, I have a movie embedded. I'm not going to play it all for you now, but you'd play the movie.
Sometimes it's the simplest of ideas that can change the world most profoundly.
So what's really nice is that you've had all this discussion about the article already, and kids are really tuning in to try to see if what they predicted in their sentences is really going to appear. If it's not a movie, then you just have the article. And the kids are going to be really looking for what they came up with in their predictions. And, you can obviously have them, do some underlining or highlighting as they read when they find things. And another thing you could do is actually take the text, and when you give them a copy of it that they're going to read, block out the words that you had as keywords at the beginning, so that as they read, they're filling in those words, and it's really helping them check their predictions and their sentences. After reading, you'd go back to the sentences, and this is when you'd make any adjustments that were needed. So after reading, how accurate were our possible sentences, and then make any adjustments to make those sentences true or fit what they read or what they saw. So hopefully you can find a way to use possible sentences along with voting, and good luck.